So porcelain veneers are very strong and aesthetic restorations that we can use to actually change the shape, size and colour of the teeth in order to change the appearance of the whole smile. The first appointment would be an initial consultation, which is a nice short appointment where we'd be seeing exactly what would be needed to achieve the smile that the patient wants. From there we'd be making sure all of the teeth are really nice and healthy before proceeding to change things about their smile. So what we would often do is actually design the smile and have a mock-up or a trial run of that smile in the patient's mouth before touching the teeth and before doing anything that's irreversible. This is to make sure they're completely happy and that what we have in our mind is exactly the smile that they've envisioned as well. If any adjustments need to be made from there, then we can do, and if not, then we can go straight on to getting the teeth ready for the porcelain veneers to go on top. So we keep things very conservative. We remove as little tooth tissue as possible, and in a lot of cases we actually don't need to remove any tooth tissue at all if the teeth are actually in the right position and are the correct shape. That last appointment in the series, we're cementing those veneers in place, making sure that again everything's really nice and sort of perfectly adhered to the tooth, making sure it's going to last as long as possible, be as cleansable as possible, and making sure again it's always about getting that smile that the patient has in their mind and making sure that our visions match up there. We would always advise coming back to see us for regular checkup appointments and for regular hygiene appointments, just to maintain that and make sure that everything stays the way that it was. Depending on how busy our books are and the waiting time for appointments, we would generally be looking at about a week and a half, sort of 10 days to have those veneers made. So we'd be looking at about 10 days from that first appointment to the fit one. Typically we tend to charge around £600 per veneer. It does change from case to case depending on the complexity and the amount of sort of work and planning that's going to have to go into it, but generally you'd be looking at around £600 per porcelain veneer. So the benefits of porcelain veneers, effectively they are what we would consider as being very aesthetic restorations, so we'd be expecting, having had porcelain veneers, to have a really nice, beautiful smile. So that's the main benefit from them. In comparison to other treatments like composite veneers, we do have a lot more flexibility on the actual changes that we can make with those aesthetics. We can have a much more natural looking smile if wanted, and equally we can get things as bright as possible if we want to as well. With regards to the longevity of the restorations and how long they last for, porcelain veneers last much longer than composite veneers, and in that time frame they require less maintenance. And that's actually because the material itself picks up much less staining, it's much stronger. So you get far less stains that appear on the teeth and far less chipping and things like that. So before treatment, patients just might not be completely satisfied with their smile. They may have smaller changes they'd like to make, sort of changing one or two teeth, or they might want a complete overhaul of their smile and they might want to change a lot of things. During the treatment, a lot of our patients are actually just very excited to come and see us because it is purely aesthetic work. We're not taking away huge amounts of tooth tissue. Often patients aren't so nervous about those appointments and they're just excited for that final result. Although they are longer appointments and there will be lots of water. We need that water just to make sure everything's nice and clear while we're working on them. At that final appointment, that's like the big unveiling of everything, and that's really where patients do get really excited and tend to be sort of, when they see the final result, often quite surprised by just how much of a difference it can make. And generally what we like to see is people being really happy with the final result that we've made for them. Yeah, so at Ewan Bramley Dental Care, we take pride in making sure that the full patient journey and that patient experience is exactly what they're expecting and what they're hoping for. Making sure that they can contact us when they need to and we can have that constant interaction and making sure that every step along the way is as comfortable as possible. We use completely up to date and sort of cutting edge technology to plan, execute and design our restorations and all of the work that we do here. So again, you can come into Ewan Bramley, you can be confident that we will be using the sort of newest, most up to date and sort of best materials and technology available.